We are Now Defunkt, and this is our new song, Jamcation.
Okay, wait. Let's do the wait for Rich, Steve.
Somewhere in Vista, we found solace in a rhyme. A familiar feeling hadn't felt in some time. The spirit of jamming doesn't come from the gear in your studio. When the music is tight, you feel it in your heart and soul. For what's the point of living on if you take not a risk? In this deep hanging out, we might find what we miss. So if you got the time, I got a little destination to play your favorite songs. We can call it education, and you don't need a reservation. No, you don't need a reservation. No, the clocks keep ticking round. The grind wears us thin, chasing shadows of purpose within. Punching our tickets to a one-way parade. Well, then I remember what my father used to say. What matters not the journey, but the company you keep. In this deep hanging out, we might find what we seek. So if you got the time, I got a little destination to play your favorite songs. We can call it education, and you don't need a reservation. No, you don't need a reservation. No. Time, I got a little destination to play your favorite songs. We can call it education, and you don't need a reservation. No, you don't need a reservation. Go. So if you got the time, I got a little destination to play your favorite songs. We can call it education, and you don't need a reservation. No. You don't need a reservation. Go.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, it's been a long week.
Truly.
It's finally summer. It's been here 80 degrees today. And in Washington, that's not a normal thing. It takes a while to get there. And you know what? I have one big regret. I didn't get in the ocean today. That's a big L.
No paddleboarding?
No paddle. I didn't do nothing in the water today. But you know what's a dub for me today?
Did you go outside?
Yeah, I was outside.
Okay.
We gotta get some rays. Gotta get some rays.
Yeah,
But you know what the W is for today?
D-man.
We are back. What's up, family? My name is CHRVNS. This is Shut Up and Listen. We don't have Tim or Noel or Vinny or anybody with me today. They're all figuring out their lives right now. But I have one of the most legendary bands. Great energy, great people, and we about to vibe out for the next 45 minutes here. Y'all make some noise for Now Defunkt.
Here with one of the most legendary podcast hosts of all time. Do you go by Chris or CHRVNS as the host of the podcast?
We do CHRVNS.
CHRVNS.
Anything stage, I do CHRVNS, and then like for like personal life, it's always Chris.
So good to be with you, CHRVNS.
Yeah.
And all the people out there in the Shut Up and Listen land.
And you know what's crazy? They always call me Churns. They call me Crevice. I've gotten called Chevy, like because it's CHRVNS, and they always spell it that. It's just Chris Evans, CHRVNS.
CHRVNS.
Got you.
And they're trying to avoid people calling me Captain America. All right, first of all, producers, y'all meddling in here, man. We're just trying to vibe out, bro. We're trying to vibe out. So
I know. Give it up for Binary Bob, man.
All right, Binary Bob. We love Binary Bob.
Thank you.
And then
Binary Bob could have waited till halfway through to
Man,
shut
got
it
a
down.
nice spread here.
Make some
too.
noise for our sponsors, Menace Brewing and Lost Giant Cider.
This is good stuff.
But let's get down to business. For the people that don't know, who is Now Defunkt and what do you do?
That's a great question.
Now Defunkt, for me, is a collective of people who have a creative message, who shares tracks in our iMessage group, and from that we take a track, turn it into something that's alive and musical and creative. Yeah, we're a band.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So who's all part of this band here? Who do we have?
Oh, we got 20 members in the band. This is the select 4 that are here tonight.
Right here's most of the core. We're missing our bass player. It's one of the core. Dad's best friend from college, and then their other friend James on the bass. Those 3. And
All right. So this
Yeah, all right,
journey
let him take it
started
away, take it
40
away.
years ago.
Yeah,
This
so
started
let's-
40 years
all
ago.
right,
Let's
I
go
feel
way
like-
back.
let's go-
Are we
let's-
going to go all the way back to the beginning? Is
Bring it
that
all the
what
way
you
back
want?
and then let me know who we gained, who we lost. Like how did this go? What happened?
I'm going to give it to you straight, Crevens,
triumphs
all
and
right?
tribulations.
Okay, so it started 40 years ago in Huntington Beach, California, at this little college called Golden West College, right? That's where me and this guy met. Scott. I'm Steve McMahon, by the way. That's Scott Macklin. This is Case. This is Nico. So it started, we met, befriended each other.
Party animals.
Party animals. Party animals.
We
It was
were in a
crazy.
music
Yeah, it was-
business music theory class. We were hanging out in the commons outside in the quad while everyone went to class. The 2 of us were the only one who stayed outside, and we looked at each other and said, "You going to class today?" We both said, "No." "What do you want to do?" And we said, "Well, let's go make some music." Well, he said, "Well, that sounds like business to me." So that's how we met.
Yeah, that and about 47,000 beers later, we finally figured it
Yeah,
out.
because didn't you not make
That's
music?
accurate.
You just went to the bar across the street.
Well, sometimes you gotta do the pre-work to get to the work.
You gotta,
Yeah,
sit
sure,
there,
sure,
drink some
sure,
beers,
sure.
and just talk about what you might want to
Never
do.
let the
With-
truth get
with
in the
the-
way of a good story.
With the best
Yeah.
ciders around.
Oh, that's right. yeah.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I don't know if Meadows was back then, but they could have been back then because of that good.
Commercial.
We'll be right back after these messages. We'd like to give a special thanks to Lost Giant Cider Company, always providing us with our cider beverages and the best of the cider beverages. Visit Lost Giant's tap room in the heart of Bellingham at 1200 Meter Avenue in the Haskell Business Center. It's just down the street from Lakeway Fred Meyer.
Menace Brewing, located in the Fountain District, is where flavor is unleashed. It serves as a local hub of craft beer and community. Recognized as the neighborhood's premier soccer hangout, you know I love me some soccer. Menace Brewing isn't just a brewery, it's the go-to spot for sports action and local engagement. Visitors can catch the game, connect with fellow fans, and immerse themselves in the heart of the spirited community. Menace Brewing invites everyone to join them, where every visit feels like coming home. Experience Menace Brewing in Bellingham today.
And welcome back.
But yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
so
40 years ago, we met, hanging out. We consider ourselves music aficionados, but, we play a little bit of music, not a whole lot. We both ended up working at South Coast Repertory. Scott was working at Whitefield Studios for a while, so we were working on music with other musicians at that time. And
was it more of like an engineering state or like?
Yeah, it was
okay, both.
engineering, yeah.
Okay.
I was wrapping cable and painting walls.
Okay, guys,
You gotta put it in.
Yeah,
you gotta pay your way up.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you did that, and then you ended up getting there.
I got to do the evening
Who were you
16-track
working
demo
with there?
stage.
Who was the guy you were working with?
Well, the guy who ran the studio was Tom Roy.
Tom Roy,
Yeah.
Hey, shout out Tom.
Great late Tom Roy.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. But we were doing music there, and I was working on some stuff too, and it took a long time for that to ferment into what Now Defunkt is, which is a nonconformist collective of artists and individuals who really. We're family, we're family. I've known these guys since they were kids. I've known Scott, 2/3 of my life. Other people in the band, James, our bass player, his kids are in the band with us as well. Their mom's in the band, Angelica's in the band, my daughter's in the band. We've got Bigfoot in the band. We've got
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot comes in, dances on stage with us. We got Kaylee, who's a trombone player and sings, and
Got to shout out to Elizabeth Freitas, the greatest
yeah.
executive producer,
my wife
assistant
Elias,
mixing
who
engineer.
sings, and
Absolutely.
we just got a slew. We got
Yeah,
a slew
for
of
real.
people.
Anyone who
Yeah,
has
so
a
we try to set a table, and we want to make it an invitational table.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
bring what they bring to the table. Then they got to trust that whatever happens on the table is going to change.
It's going to get
Oh, yeah,
defuncted.
that's-
And then
It's
we'll,
gonna
we
get
can
defuncted.
break that
Defunct
down.
it.
But to move the 40 years to like 5 years ago, we were all smacked and stuck because of this thing called COVID. So we were all locked down. Well, right before the lockdown, I wrote the very first song I ever wrote. And I had never written a song before. I got Steve to play guitar. My daughter, his daughter, and James, our bass player daughter, we went out to Joshua Tree and we filmed it. And sitting
that's
underneath the
sick.
stars of Joshua Tree, we're playing along. We
a
started
cold
coming
night.
up with some other ideas. And Nico goes, "Hey, we should start a band." And we went, "Yeah, right. Now that ain't going to happen." Then we all went back to our various places because we all live in different parts of the United States.
Wait, so where does everybody live then?
Yeah.
I'm Southern California.
Can't you tell?
Yeah.
Vibing.
I don't know. Take that as a compliment or
No, I love
wait a minute.
Southern California, man.
Case was in Texas.
San Antonio, yeah.
Nico was in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
James was in L.A. at the time, at the
he was in LA
beginning,
at the time,
and
yeah.
I was up here in
Honestly,
Birch Bay.
Just to
So
clarify,
with
I
all-
just meant you're- that's
So
a
with
chill
everybody being
guy.
separate, and then having so many people involved, what does that look like to actually like come together and create? Is it so? I'm gonna kind of double back. Is the IM messages? Everybody's throwing stems and whatnot, and is that's how it's just going?
Basically
And
how
Zoom.
It was. Yeah. Go ahead, Nico. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we met on Zoom. Yeah, we have like a iMessage with, I think there's like 14 to 20 people on there, but then it keeps getting separated because it's like you have one song, so you make your own chat because some people don't need to be in that chat.
Yeah.
You would think we probably
Yeah,
should
you
do
would
that. We
think.
should do that. Yeah,
Take notes.
yeah, there we go.
And then we would also meet on Zoom, and then a lot of people who had like core ideas for the song, like I know these three would, and like these two, like Steve would lay down a guitar track, and then Scott would be like, "Oh, here's a cool concept," and then like
Yeah, we
create
kept
something
going
out of
back
that.
and forth, sending out tracks. Maybe I'd find a kernel, and that kernel I'd send out to Scott. He would layer some vocals and add to it. We give it to Case. He would do his thing. Send it to James. He would do his thing. Nico would come in.
Yeah,
Anna would come
yeah,
in,
man.
and we started to build. And then we take a look at it and see, and Rubik's cubic, and see if it was gonna work, if it wasn't gonna work, if everybody liked it. And then we
It's a process.
it's that
ebb and
process,
flow.
and
It's
that's
massaging it, making
that's-
the bread, kneading the dough.
kneading-
Yeah, man. Well,
that's.
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say, you asked the question, how did you come together and make this music? But that was the thing, we couldn't physically come
So
together.
you've never all been in the same place to record.
So until
Oh, yeah,
finally.
Yeah.
Album number 3. We did 2 albums, all remote. And album number 3, one of our cousins, also in Southern California, was getting married. It was an
Vista.
opportunity to all be there, come to Steve's neck of the woods.
Y'all was more excited for the recording
Yeah.
session than
We were staying.
Good time. Yeah.
We were like, man, we gotta go on this vacation and we gotta jam. We gotta have a jamcation.
Yeah.
And that was the core of our album number 3, which is called Jamcation. And we got to be in the same space. It was my aunt's house that she lived in. They had a dog named D.O.G.
D.O.G. D.O.G.
Spelled
D.O.G.
D-O-G.
yeah.
D-O-G. The dog. Get it? Shout out D.O.G., man, because he just kept us humble, I guess. You know, just being in the room with his presence. 'cause-
he was kind of bug-eyed.
But that was our first time in the same space recording, and we came up with the ideas and the recordings for about 8 or 9 songs off the latest album, and yeah,
That's some of my favorite moments when you make like basically a majority of a project within like 48 hours type
exactly
thing.
all organic. I think it was over the
that was
span of
amazing.
4 days.
Just letting it flow.
Yeah.
Just letting
Yeah.
it flow at
And
that
the,
point.
and the first sort of, the origin story, we didn't intentionally start off to be a band. We didn't know that was going to happen. We had the song, we started changing ideas. And our first album, we did a Kickstarter. We had 2 or 3 songs. He said, "Hey, I want to put out vinyl." And we actually put out this album, Skills Are Handy, Feel is Gold. But what we did in the liner notes is the story of the band is in our text messages. So let me just read a couple. So,
Yeah, there's some good text.
so we are trying to come up with a name. How about naming the band Family Tree? And then Steve wrote back, "I'm kind of digging Family Tree. Let's see if it's been used. The web says that Family Tree is now defunct. And Nico texted, Now Defunkt is a cool name too. Yeah, it is. And then I wrote, well, the theme should be creative isolation, physical distance, yet collective making, while smiling and experiencing the continuous sense that one's feet are not quite connecting to the ground. A sketch of a girl flying a kite, the feel of elation when you're soaring, only to discover she's run off the cliff edge. Will she fly or will she fall? So
We've been
Dad
legitimized
was working
by
on
an
his
angel.
PhD at the time. Some of that lingo made it into the...
Yeah, it was like the end of the world, right? I don't know if you guys remember COVID, but all the shit was coming down, and it was like it was ready to. We were like, hey, this is our chance to do it, and we just everybody jumped in. We had the
therapeutic,
space,
too.
we had the time to go ahead and do it, and we found the way to go ahead and do it. And it had been something that Scott and I have been wanting to do for 40 years.
That's sick.
Yeah, very cool.
Now look at you, 5 years later, we still vibing.
Absolutely.
By the way, the tracks have no EQ. No, one of my favorite pieces on this is like a little detail. The cosmic advisory explanatory lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Take you out of this world.
And I just love saying that we're hi-fi, and you can interpret that in ways that you see fit.
Yeah. No, I love that. No, I love that.
Man, Crevens, it's good to be here, man. It's good to be here. You're a musician yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just be vibing out, having a good time.
I don't know if you remember, but
Yeah,
we
the
saw
Nature
you
Show.
live.
Yeah, you reminded me. You reminded me, and I do
Yeah.
remember y'all. God damn, that was a good ass time. Because that was just, honestly, nothing was planned for that set. We were just winging it.
It sounded so good.
It sounded tight. And then it was impromptu, right? Because you had your guitar player and you just had him soloing and he was dope. And then you were like, hey, anyone in the crowd got anything they want to say?
No,
And
no,
Nico-
no.
Yeah, you did.
We gotta tell the truth. The people want to know the truth.
You were like in between songs, you were talking and stuff, and like even during the songs, and the crowd was a little timid, which I've noticed is something about Bellingham. People are a little
You
more
gotta amp
like,
them up. You gotta.
yeah, and so like
Right.
the hype man in me and the person who's like I've been all over the place.
And the stage manager in you.
And I stage manage, but even then it's like when I'm in a crowd in the audience, like I am there to like have fun, have a good time. I'm gonna let loose. I'm not worried about the people around me. I'm here to like enjoy the music. And if I'm vibing with the music, like I'm gonna like vibe with the music. So I was dancing and like going along with it, and people around me, they were kind of like, swaying back and forth, but I was like going in it. And then like you were talking during the thing.
Because it was you kind of saved my ass. Because it was community to community event, and it was for the farmers and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
and
so-
you were
All
able
our
to
asses at one
articulate
point.
what we were actually like fundraising for better than I was
Yeah.
able to.
Yeah.
Save my ass.
Well, because you were all like, you were telling your life story on stage, and then you were like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, you have a message. Then you pointed
So
at
what's
me,
your
and you were like,
message?
what's your message? So I went up there, and I started talking about the conditions of farm labor, like in Whatcom County and like abroad.
Yeah, the truth of labor
Yeah.
exploitation.
It was
exists.
a
Wild stuff.
community event for Community to Community, which is an organization in Bellingham that serves as a eco-feminist, just transition organization that works to better our food systems, promote food sovereignty, and then just conditions for farm workers in general. So
Lock in, twin. Lock
As soon
in.
as you said that, the crowd went.
Ooh, another world is possible through music, and that's what I really like about like Now
Among other
Defunkt and
things,
creating
absolutely.
these participatory spaces in which like if you have a message, if you have a story, or if you have like a beat stuck in your head that you like found at 2 a.m. on a walk home or whatever, like
Been
you
there.
can take that and then you can make something out of that.
Wastememos.com.
We'll be there.
That's
Yep,
well
yep.
said.
Support
That's
you,
well
you know?
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, what was that gig? Where were you playing at? I wasn't there.
Oh, it was
the
at
first
the
I've heard of
makeshift. It was the makeshift. So I forget who it was. A Mad King and somebody else. It was another band.
And then dope rapper. He's also part on the Washington's record. A lot of dope artists in Bellingham right now. A lot of dope
Forgot.
artists in
Hey, sorry, we forgot, homie. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But no, enough about me and my shows. How were shows with how what do shows look like for you guys, especially with all the different people? You like you have like certain songs that you'll be able to play because you only have certain people, or people have to take different roles? How does that work?
So you want to take this one?
Those questions you asked is what we were just asking ourselves all this last week.
How the heck did we
were
do
just,
this?
So yeah,
we were going through it in real
consensus
time.
now? What is the consensus?
We were getting ready for folk life. You want to take it?
Well, so 2 years ago, we booked to play Northwest Folk Life in Seattle, but we had never been in a room playing our songs before. We've recorded isolated. So we came up with this idea, look, we need to jam and we needed to vacate. We need to have a jamcation. So everyone came up here to Birch Bay, and we spent a whole week, basically locked in, rehearsing, firing up the pizza oven, getting out on the paddleboard, jamcating, and we just work through how do we break our songs down to find not only the basic construct to do them live, but allow each of us to have a chance to shine.
Yeah.
9 weeks leading up to the jamcation, we were doing the wax on, wax off approach where everyone was doing their individual parts. Then we had to come together and learn to Tetris that. And the big trick we learned that first time, that jamcation is the art and the act of listening to each other, which is really hard sometimes.
Especially for
No,
him.
you got to put that's where you got to put ego and pride aside. You got to be moving as a
Exactly.
unit.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's it.
But we
Absolutely.
did
basically
it.
just gotta-
I wasn't there. I was out of the country, but they did it.
Yeah. I mean, we're putting the set list together all of a
On
sudden.
real vacation, we should have been at a jam
She
case.
had to go to Nepal. Our bass player and drummer couldn't make it. We put a name out. We got Becky and Wendy, some local musicians who've been holding it down.
That's a great story,
To come in, and so we had the grandmother punk rockers playing with us, and then we
They were
just
so
merged and melded and rocked it.
Yeah.
And then so we did it, right? And then we said, okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to have our next jamcation. We did it in August in Vista, California, where we recorded our songs.
This is a year later, 2 years later.
And then
1
we
year later, yeah.
spent all that time mixing. We've got it mixed, produced. We're working with Washington's Records. They're going to help
Sam.
distribute the vinyl. But we
out to
just
Sam, by the way.
just
Super dope.
yesterday performed at
very
Northwest
cool.
Folk Life again.
Yeah.
And we've just spent this entire week jamcating. And the difference between this time and last time, why don't you talk about sort of how we prepared for this and where we did it?
Yeah. Well, that first Folk Life was our first time as a band performing in front of a crowd. So,
How'd that feel?
I'd say we stuck the landing. We got there.
It wasn't
Yeah.
only the first time performing in front of a crowd. It was the first time performing in a room together. Ever.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's a double whammy right there.
Yeah.
We had about 3 days to prepare.
3 days of
About 3
rehearsal,
days to prepare,
showtime.
and none of us had been in the same room, but Case is such a hell of an engineer that he was able to go
appreciate
ahead
that.
and
Thank
take
you.
everything and pull it together. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
amazing what he does. And then trying to go ahead and what you're saying about, we've been friends for 40 years because we can bury the axe. We can go ahead and get beyond stuff, but that doesn't mean that we don't butt heads.
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
mean
But that's
that we're-
it's inevitable.
But that's true.
It doesn't,
inevitable.
it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that we're like, no, can I swear?
You got to roast your friends a little
Shit,
bit.
yeah.
You're
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
wrong, bro. You know what I mean? So we go through that
I'm
process.
putting my fucking foot down.
Yeah, and then just even recently in this last exploration into 25, there was arguments between the family members and people trying to go at each other. It's just we're all able to go ahead and go to the other side, and we're better for it.
Yeah.
We're better
Yeah.
for it. And the
I
music
mean, that's
shows
if
it.
you can't work with somebody in the studio, because I have a lot of good friends that I work with, and then we'll butt heads on something, right? So what we'll do A and B. So make both options, both our visions, make them come true, and then we'll like close our eyes or have a third party come in, play A or B. Which one do you think? Whoever wins, wins. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
And it's all love. It's still all love at the end of the day.
Keep the other one muted just in case we want to go back later.
Exactly.
But this,
that's
a
part of the
great
process,
idea.
though.
Yeah,
but this time we had the good fortune there's a contingent of folks up here in Birch Bay. So both Case and Nico are now up here. They're in the transition, figuring out their
It's
next
good to be back in the
steps.
Pacific Northwest.
We're
Absolutely.
able to talk
You're-
their mother, my wife, Angelica, to join us on keys and
Yes,
ask her
we got
because
Mom
she
in
held
the
us down. We got
band
Mom in the
playing
band.
keys.
Mom rocks. She's the rock star.
Absolutely.
We had my brother Brian now living up here, sort of our stand-in bass player.
And Brian did
then,
so much too for us.
And then Becky
prepping
was
for
on
this.
the drums, and then Becky's in this other band. And the guy who runs that band is the guy who owns. Is going to be a shout out, Gary's Barbecue Supply.
Oh, yeah. No, shout out Gary's Barbecue Supply.
And in the
Shout
warehouse
out.
in the back of the Barbecue Supply, which is full of smokers, we were able to. They have a band practice room, so they let us
Live
go in there and
setup,
practice.
yeah.
So we were practicing in the smokers.
Mics,
Right.
PA
That's sick.
system,
So something about
mixing
the
board.
vibe kind of worked.
Yeah, the barbecue studio.
There was like a
had the
ginormous round pig in the corner, but every time we went in there, it would be in a different place.
Yeah.
Keep you on your toes.
the missing.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
for real. Like,
exactly.
where's the pig gonna be?
Yeah,
today?
one
then
time
we-
it winked at me.
And then what we did is we had 9 weeks before we knew everyone was coming out. We just picked a song and worked that song for a week. And by the time
One song
Steve-
for a whole week?
yeah, work it.
Yeah.
It would be like
Yeah.
once a week. We would
And
do
then
yeah, we
Okay,
met up
oh,
once a
okay.
week. So
Yeah.
And then Steve was able to come to town. James was able to come to town, and then we all got together, and then we just worked our parts out, and figured out. Well, I learned to do it this way, and and that's where we
Yeah,
had
that's where
to
that
remeld
built
and
in, but yeah,
rework,
yeah,
and
yeah.
be elastic a little bit. But again, the art of it was listening to each other and trying to figure out what's going to serve the song. We want to serve the song.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I really
that's
want
right.
to shout out Brian too, because he was able to really work the PA system
ran
and
all of our
mix
live
and make sure that
sound.
all of our equipment was like all sounding good and working together.
Yeah,
so
and
that
played
was-
stand and played bass for us during all the rehearsals because we knew we were going to have our Showtime bass player James,
James.
until 3 days before the show.
So yeah, the lineup was we had. I got to give a shout out to
Yeah.
Aiden. We
Yeah,
had
oh, yeah.
Aiden.
Gotta shout out
Aiden on
James's
cajon,
son.
right? Yeah,
Aiden on cajon.
You had Brian on
The djembe.
the
He went back
djembe,
to
and then
the
you had
djembe.
Becky on drums, right? So that was the rhythm section. James on bass, and then you'd have Kaylee come up, and she would be
sang a
she'd
song,
be sang
played
chicken
trombone.
fried steak and did trombone, and then myself, Case, and the 4 people that are here, and then Angelica, right? And then you had
Well, for shouting out names, I got to
yeah,
shout out
yeah.
two of my best friends growing up,
Yeah.
Huey
Yeah, there you go.
and
Yeah,
Nick,
that's right, that's
both
right,
dope
yeah.
rappers that came on stage
Yeah,
at Folk
yeah.
Life and rapped with us for a couple of the songs.
Amaya
Wait,
came
hold up.
on.
Wait. This is it. Our 12-year-old niece, who's just out in the stratosphere with
Yeah.
this voice of like,
Yeah.
She's
Talent.
in
Yeah.
middle school right now.
Prodigy.
we decided to open our
Prodigy.
set by doing a cover song.
Yeah.
We don't do many covers, but we did Living Colors, Cult of Personality.
Oh, nice.
And she
Banger.
just came in and just this
Yeah.
12-year-old
Lot of fun.
voice just
Nobel
killed
Prize.
it.
Yeah,
Dang.
yeah. She's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
So I guess that leads me to, how was Folk Fest?
Oh, man.
It was cool. It was
great.
cool.
I got the word for
cool.
it.
It was cool.
I got
it
the
was
word
great.
for it. You want to hear the word for it?
Let's hear it.
It was gigantic.
Joy.
That's my word. I
Dancing.
agree
was.
with that.
It was amazing. It was the culmination of the 5 years on stage. That's what I felt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And being able to go ahead and share it with you guys is a blessing. It was unbelievable. It was really
Full
an
circle
amazing
type of
time.
moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
It was.
I
For
think
sure.
the biggest difference between the first Folk Life and this one was the amount of prep and rehearsal that we put into it. 3 days versus 9 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Honestly, I
all that
love a
hard
good
work,
crunch
I think
time.
it paid off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a crunch
Absolutely.
time because you really
Absolutely.
just dig in.
You get
Yeah.
in. You really find what it is, right? You find where you're supposed to go ahead and be and what the song can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's transformative, right? You get the live exploration and then you get the studio exploration. And they're both great, but they're a little bit individual of each other.
Well, time crunch makes you take away the overthinking of it. You just gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know how you guys are feeling, but it's a bit surreal because we've been working on the production of the Jamcation album, which is basically was our set list, was just our album with a couple of our,
with a
favorite
couple of
songs.
changes.
Yeah,
Yeah, a couple
but we'd been working on this album. We recorded it last summer, and then it went through the process of getting defuncted, and then it got mixed, and months of kneading and massaging it until it reached its final form. We've been working on the production for a year.
Yeah.
Then we started the rehearsal. We finally finished the album, and now we're getting ready to perform. We got the anticipation of Folk Life coming up. So we went from recording to producing to mixing to finishing the album, feeling triumphant, rehearsing it, performing it at Folk Life. And it's like the end of this huge, long, almost like the end of a school year. Like this long saga has reached its conclusion.
Yeah.
And so it feels incredible.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey folks, Subjam just launched their Indiegogo campaign, and they need your help. If you believe in live, local music and want a streaming platform that actually supports real scenes and real artists, this is your moment. Funds go directly towards launching the Android app, adding scenes, and rolling out new social features like favorites, comments, and DMs. The iOS beta is already live. Now it's time to take it further. Hit up igg.me/@/subjam and support the movement.
Binary Recording Studio is a versatile space designed to cater to all music genres. And when I say all, I mean all. If you're into jazz, rock, hip hop, or anything in between, Binary is equipped to bring your music to life. With the expert engineering and the best setup, my boy Bob, he can capture the essence of whatever you are wanting to create and bring it, just to reality. From there, book your session today, unleash your creativity at Binary Recording Studio. But for real, my boy Bob, he will not disappoint.
And welcome back.
With this end of this conclusion, can we get an exclusive? Do we have a date?
Oh, for the album?
Well, so
When can people expect it?
We're working with Washington's to distribute the album. The album is now being pressed on eco-friendly press, so we feel good about that.
Oh, yeah,
We
absolutely.
don't have the date
Gotta
keep it
nailed,
sustainable.
but we're thinking August, and we're going to be planning an album release party, and we're all on the details about that. Maybe you guys have some ideas, because we would like to do something that is, I don't know if the word epic, but maybe something that is,
epic. That sounds about right.
There's so many dope musicians in Bellingham. It'd be cool to do like a festival sort of thing,
Get
or
some
multiple
food
artist
trucks?
sort of thing.
Just
you
give
know?
people a chance to
Celebrate
shine,
good
man.
music.
Shine. Yeah.
But all right, well, I got questions. So are you waiting for the vinyls to be completed before releasing it, or are you gonna put them on like all digital services and
truth
then?
be told, our single Jamcation dropped yesterday and all
Yeah,
streaming
yeah,
channels.
yeah.
So that's out there.
So go ahead, lock in.
Jamcation.
Go ahead, check that out right now
Jamcation.
Yeah,
on all
we'll-
streaming platforms.
And we'll probably drop our next single, which is going to be Runaway. And then we'll drop singles leading up to it, sort of build that sort of buzz.
little
and then-
waterfall.
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
vinyl is sort of a niche. Not everyone buys vinyl, but it's got a cool vibe. But other
got a
people
place in your
access
heart, though.
music. So when the vinyl's available, that becomes that collection. We hope, because we think a lot about the sequencing of songs and how it Tetris is on the album. And the album,
all intentional.
Yeah, and
It's
there's,
all
there's a
intentional.
theme to
Trev,
the
you get it.
album. But at the same
favorite.
time, people consume songs the way they consume songs. So we want the
Playlists
songs to
is
stand
whatnot,
alone
yeah.
and to live and breathe. So we'll have release strategy leading up to that.
So you're all album people, or you playlist people? What was your vibe?
Both.
Ooh, good question.
Both.
Good question.
I listen
Can-
to a lot
can
of
I be
CDs.
both?
You can be both. Yeah. You can be whatever you want to be. No, I ask this a lot because I find like a lot of musicians actually just like I know more consumer side will just like pick those 1 Tuesday songs, put it on a playlist, but not listen to an album front to back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to like 3 songs from the album, download it, and then listen to front to back, and then that's it. And so then when I shuffle like all songs on my phone, I hear one song, I have to click that and then go listen to the whole album and then go back to shuffle.
I get that. I get that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm sorry.
take it.
I'd like to listen to the whole album. I think you get much more from
You get
it.
the full idea what someone was trying to
you
convey.
do. You do. Yeah, I remember listening to Young's After the Gold Rush when I was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
The album,
How
that's an
influential
influence
it was on
yeah.
me at that time. And the big songs that came out of that album are not my favorite songs. And that's what happens a lot of times, right?
Yep.
But you get so much by listening to a whole album at one time.
Yeah, I got a story. So, this goes way back to the 80s, and I was living in Ohio. Super hot, muggy, sunny summer. I was in my room. I don't think I left my room for like 3 weeks, and I basically would be on my bed, lying over with my head upside down. I had a pair of Harman Kardon stereos, Harman Kardon receiver with these Boston acoustic speakers, and I was listening to just way too much prog rock. King Crimson, Pink Floyd, Robert Fripp, yeah. And
Those good vibes, though. Those good vibes.
And I was just suffering from prog rock syndrome,
Prog
right?
rock
that feeling
syndrome.
you just got paper cuts on your eyeballs and your feet don't touch the ground. So finally, I got
there a
pushed out of the
prescription for prog rock
house,
syndrome?
and I go down in Athens, Ohio. Court Street, at the end of Court Street, was Hoffa's Records. It was the Mecca. It was that's where I'd skip school and spend all day at the record store. And Ron Epizito, who ran the record store, I walked down there and he goes, "Scott, man, what's wrong?" And I'm looking. He goes, "You've got prog rock syndrome." And I go, "I know, man. What do I do about it?" He goes, "I got the diagnostic. I got the cure." And he pulled out the Minutemen, Double Nickels on the Dime.
Oh, yeah.
Which is this classic
great album.
LA sort of post-punk. I had never really spent much time with punk, and I listened to that thing. And there's actually a book called This Band Changed My Life. The Minutemen Changed My Life. And they do songs that are like under 2 minutes. And the drummer's jazzy. The guitar plays kind of funky. And Mike Watt, the bass player, but it's just got this punk feel.
Yeah.
And so the shift between listening to albums to having just songs. So what I learned, because I consume records on albums, you listen to the entire album.
Yeah.
But when you make a mixtape,
It's a
you
whole
have to
nother
pick
art.
your songs, and then you think about what song goes first, what song goes second, and there's an art and craft to
Yeah.
a good cassette
Emotional
mixtape.
waves, yeah.
And we probably, Steve and I, exchanged hundreds of
Hundreds of
mixtapes.
tapes, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was the thing.
I miss
so,
the burning CDs
And
days.
when I got
Yeah.
a car, so I didn't want to pay for Spotify or anything or whatever. I was like, yeah. And so I would
Valid.
listen to a lot of CDs. And then I got into my parents' CD collection, and I found all of his old mixtapes, and
There's
they
a lot
were
of good stuff.
Because I converted the mixtape
Lot
to
of good
CD because
stuff.
I was, kind of
Yeah,
Thinking
all of
of
the,
it.
too much.
all
No, I was a
the-
LimeWire. I was on there.
And
All this making
I
Media
kept
man.
them in a CD case in my car, like in a big like book full of CDs and full of CDs. And then I had another like CD bookcase of a bunch of CDs that were like actual albums and probably worth like a lot of money or whatever if you like valued it. And I got my car broken into, and on one side of the seat was like the big like album or CD book with all of the albums, and on the other side was the mixtapes, and they stole the mixtapes that are probably like you can't sell those, but the sentimental gold.
Yeah, that's what they
Crushed. I'm still pissed.
Yeah.
Like if you see
pissed for you.
If anyone's
Weird
out there
Dude's
that
face and
has,
his groove is on it, like
Yeah.
you stole my mixtapes. Like fuck
Come
you.
on.
Like what is wrong with
Don't
you?
be a dick. Return them.
Right?
For real.
So I think
What the
that
fuck?
type of influence had a
Who
direct
steals
impact.
mixtapes? What's the matter with you people?
Because we have, multiple people from multiple perspectives and a divergence of convergence, we kind of defy categories. It's kind of hard. What bucket are we in? I like to say we're like alt hoot funk rock or groove rock. I don't know what that means, but you'll hear all sorts of vibes to it. Part of it is because of that mixtape reality, but it's also part of it that each of us brings a song to the table. Nico contributed 2 songs to the last album.
Yeah.
Steve did a lot of the basic chord riff construction
Yeah.
that went through the defunctory.
all the guitar
Case,
work on the album,
2 or
too.
3
A lot of the
songs.
great- yeah.
What? Describe the defunctory. What's the defunctory?
For the people
What's
that
the
don't know, go
defunctory?
ahead and educate them.
Yeah.
How much longer do we have on this? We got a couple hours. We got a few
Just
hours.
listen to the album. Listen to the
Yeah.
album. Then you'll
The
feel the
defunctory,
defunctory.
man. It's the defunctory, man. Check it out. It's all on the album. It's all laid out. Yeah.
All right. Then on the website, I'm pretty sure I saw like some kind of documentary thing.
Yeah, so what we did for the last Jamcation, again, we didn't start off to make a documentary. It's just that we documented the process of jamcating leading up to the Folk Life 2023. And we ended up editing that, and it was mostly supposed to be a home movie for the band.
Me and Nico have grown up with cameras in our faces since we were born.
Yeah.
Home movies have
Oh,
just
yeah.
been a part of our upbringing. So
Yep.
we had, we of course our cameras were going to be rolling during the whole Jamcation, and
It's a beautiful thing, though.
multiple
Yeah,
multiple
no, for real.
angles,
Yeah,
yeah,
multiple
good angles too.
Yeah, we got some good
Got
stuff.
the good angles.
Filmmaker over here, filmmaker.
And because our means
got
of
a film in the Harvard
communication was using Zoom, those were all recorded. So we had all those conversations.
sick.
So you see cutting from that. So it's the premise, the arc of the film is we're at Folk Life, we're getting ready to start jamming, and all of a sudden everything goes stops, and then you hear the voice. How the fuck did we get here? Right? And then well, for that story you have to go back, and then you see the calendar go
Rewind.
and then it'll cut to that little Zoom session or to an exchange that we had on FaceTime. Then it'll cut to the practice. Then it cuts back to the live show. So we're intercutting the live performance
And how
in the
it was built
show
up.
to how we got to where we were. And it I think it won Best Doc at LA
Yeah, it got some cool
Documentary Film
recognition.
Festival.
It did.
It's out there in this, it's getting some play, so it's kind of
that-
nice.
hey,
yeah.
that's love right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's love
yeah.
right
Well,
there.
Well, one day we were just hanging upstairs and a package came in. Did you order something? No, we opened it up and it's this big trophy from where was it from?
Yeah, it was the LA
LA.
Documentary
There
Film.
was one from the Philippines.
Well,
or
we got
something, I
accepted
showed-
at a film festival
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Just trophy showing up in the mail. It's like,
Yeah.
Great film.
Just putting art out in the world and just getting recognition. That's got to be one of the best feelings right there.
It is.
that's the thing.
Just knowing that you're being heard and seen.
Yeah, with Now Defunkt, it's like we'll throw it out into the world, and it gets recognized, but also we'll just throw it out to throw it out.
Yeah, the best response is from the people in this room. You know what I mean? If Nico likes it, I know he got something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, she's
Executive
tough,
producer.
man.
Yep.
And not to get too theoretical, but I can't help myself. We talk about this idea: how does one nurture and build a community of practice? Well, one, you have to have a table that's invitational, inviting everyone to participate from where they can. But then you have to create a reification or the narrative, the story of the process, but share that story. So we try to live that out. So our idea, the product of the album is awesome. But the process
Exactly.
That's where it really
and the
lies.
connection
Absolutely.
and the
It
vibes
is.
that we create.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
build
That's
off
all
that
the
real
time.
quick, I just want to chime in
time.
just a short lesson that my dad taught me, building off that, the idea of community and filming together. When you're creating stories, it's really important to keep in mind, this is what my dad taught me, it's always stuck with me. We can't just make stories about community, we have to make stories with community. So
And
that's a lesson that I think we just really, carry on with all of our stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Truth.
Yeah.
And the other big part of what we do is we all love food.
Oh yeah.
We
So we big. So the menu for the Jamcation, I made up a paella that I've been working on for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
His wife Kalaya from Thailand just cooked up this pad see ew and lab mu that was just off the hook.
Yeah, she's really good.
Amaya's dad, Aldo.
Aldo cooked up the Alhambra,
Yeah.
which means the wire.
Yeah.
It's like a deconstructed Philly cheesesteak and a fresh tortilla.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good.
It's good stuff.
So I'm invited to the next.
Yes.
You are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to throw down. I throw on
Yeah.
the keys. I get on the drum.
Yeah.
Whatever I need to do.
Oh, yes.
And the thing
and then I'm gonna
is-
eat like 3 plates.
But it's the same philosophy.
Then we'll
We're
collab
not
on
just going to
something.
cook for you. You're going to come cook
That's
with
right.
us.
I got you.
And we're going to
Someone's
serve
gotta
each
do the
other.
dishes.
I'll throw some shit on the. I'll do some on the grill, and I'll throw some in the dough. I got y'all.
There you go.
Someone's
But I
got to
guess-
do the dishes.
First and foremost, I help with the dishes too. I
Appreciate it.
But no, I want to say thank y'all for coming. This is fucking epic. This is great, and I can't
Great
wait to
time.
see. We can't wait to see where this takes everybody. And where's the next place they're gonna catch you is?
Well, you're going to probably catch us online. Because we haven't booked our next gig yet, but that's
Jamcation
coming
album
soon.
party.
But the Jamcation
Jamcation
album
album
release
party.
party.
We're
will
looking
be
at August,
announced.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Late August, Jamcation album release party. Details to come. We are now defunct.
So, and then where can they find you on social media?
Wait, you say
So
angry.
we're-
Where can they find you online?
Yeah, so you'll find us at www.nowdefunkt.com.
How do you spell that?
Defunkt, DEFUNKT.
Lock in.
Now Defunkt. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We still use Facebook, because I'm
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
I use
I'm on
Facebook.
it too.
I'm on there.
Valid.
Yeah.
It's valid.
Yep.
Thanks, Krevin.
Oh no, thank
Thanks,
y'all.
Brad.
boys.
You can find us, you can
Yeah,
find us
yeah,
on
yeah.
Appreciate it,
Bandcamp,
man.
Spotify, Apple
Yeah.
Music,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
All the
Everywhere.
above. All the
Everywhere.
above. Yeah.
all
So-
the above.
Out and
All the
about in the
above is
streets.
right,
I
yeah.
got one
On a
more
paddleboard
piece.
somewhere.
And we love open mics.
Open mic.
Open
So
mics.
we-
Go to honeymoon.
Oh, yeah.
You ever go
Yeah,
to
we gotta
honeymoon?
go
Wednesday.
We gotta come down on honeymoon. Yeah.
The honeymoon's on Wednesdays, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, but
I'm pretty sure it's
we
on
need to look it
Wednesdays
up.
because I got karaoke right down the street.
Yeah.
Oh, it's karaoke.
I do karaoke on Wednesdays, yeah. But
Gotcha,
honeymoon's
gotcha,
right down the
gotcha,
alley,
gotcha.
so
Yeah.
it's just kind of pop back and forth.
Yeah.
But for the people out there, for the listeners, for everybody out in the world, it doesn't have to be music related. It can be about anything. What is one piece of advice you have for the people? We can start either way or who wants to go first, but everybody get a piece of advice.
I'm going to share the piece of advice that my mother gave me that I carry. I don't have very many absolutes. You know what absolutes? Those are those moral truths that hold for all time and all reason. But she taught me, and I take this seriously because it's serious. Never buy underwear at a garage sale. Just don't do it.
I can't top that. You know what I mean?
Never
He's always
buy
going
under-
right there with that stuff.
I can't say
right?
that thought has ever crossed my mind.
Just be good to each other. Be good to each other because it helps everybody.
Yeah.
This is something my and our great grandma taught me, and I think taught a lot of us in this room, and is also a verse in a song. Walk humbly, act justly.
Yeah, there you go.
Walk
That's
humbly,
right.
act
Yeah,
justly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Word to Shirley, Grandma
word to
Shirley.
Shirley.
She used to
Or
say,
Danny too.
she said, "I'm not a citizen of this country.
Yeah.
I'm a citizen of the world."
Yeah.
So, and I'll say that, and I'll just also echo and I'll put the exclamation point on that.
Yeah.
On that point of, We're working with communities, and I advise you to work with communities, not just make stories about communities. We're in this together.
Get outside, get active.
Get active. Gotta get active. Someone's got to.
And I
Someone's
think
got
I
to.
think I got to bust a little quote from one of I think the smartest, funniest people out there right now, Josh Johnson.
Yep.
Because
Josh
he
Johnson,
does a
shout
bit.
out.
He does a bit on DeepSeek. DeepSeek said, "I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger." So as we deal with AI, as we deal with technology, trying to accommodate or replace our humanity, remember your humanity. Remember whose image that you're made in. We are all called to create and be creative and do something in this world that's going to help move creativity to the next level. Because, man, we're living in a time where it's mucked up, and there's some mucked up stuff.
It's all fucked
we
up. Yeah,
need
it's
to
crazy.
tap
Yeah.
that inner creativity.
Yep.
You got to
Yeah.
find what you're good at. You got to find what the world needs. And you got to bridge that together.
Inspire.
Find that
Yeah,
sweet
it
spot.
is.
Yeah, there you
Inspire,
go.
create.
It is.
Yep.
At this time, and we're gonna make sure you guys jam out for us here in a shortly, because we do want to hear something live. But for our listeners out there right now, make sure y'all stay beautiful, stay moisturized, stay hydrated. It's getting hot out there. Stretch, don't get no cramps, bro. Other than that,
You
stay
gotta
beautiful.
Get,
Thank
you
you.
gotta get in the water.
I'm
gotta
gonna get in the water. I'm gonna get in the
man. You
water.
gotta get in the water.
I'm gonna get. Don't worry. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for being here today. My name is CHRVNS. This is Shut Up and Listen. Stay tuned for the live performance. Man.
Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe deep and ramble on. The truth is, there's nothing set in stone. Drove towards the setting sun with no clue what's yet to come back home. Well, there's a mystery in these ashes. The phoenix shares their song. The band may rise and fall. The jam lives on. Yeah, the jam lives on.
I get behind the driving wheel, take you on down the line. Nothing more than something that's taking my time. Well, there's red moss on the raven's head and blue lights in your eye. Pine smoke dressed up in the air, looking so fly.
Oh, there's a mystery in these ashes.
The phoenix shares their song.
The band may rise and fall. The jam lives on. Yeah, the jam lives on.
And so out of the history of life's crashes transpires a rhythming of words. Firebirds! And out of the mystery of life's crashes grows a flowering of firebirds to inspire words.
I packed my camera and waved a hand. I said I'll see you again. They told me don't you forget to take the cap off the lens. You got a story to tell between what's real and what sells. Between your heart and yourself, from what's risen and fell. When the smoke fills the air, keep your eye on the trail. 'Cause there's a mystery in these ashes. The phoenix shares their song. The band may rise and fall. The jam lives on. And there's a history in these crashes. The rhythm grooves along. The firebirds rise and fall, but the light goes on and on and on. Yeah, the jam lives on. Yeah, the jam lives on.
Thanks again for tuning in to Shut Up and Listen. For more captivating content, including videos, articles, and everything music related, visit our website at shutupbham.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts and join the conversation by following us at Shut Up and Listen BHAM on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Shut Up and Listen is proudly produced by Rocket Soul and Binary Recording Studio. Stay tuned for more fantastic episodes.